Do you remember the first time you smelled Dior Sauvage? Not now. Not in 2025, when it's the scent of every college freshman and every man who walked into Sephora and pointed at the first blue bottle he saw. I'm talking about before, when the air shifted the moment someone wearing Sauvage walked into a room, when women turned their heads, when men asked, "What is that?" When one spray, just one, could rewrite the energy of an entire night. Here's the question that's going to haunt this entire video. Was Dior Sauvage actually a masterpiece, or did we just need it to be? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Sauvage didn't just rise. It didn't just dominate. It became so successful, so universally worn, that it killed the very thing that made it legendary. It became a victim of its own power. So today we're going back to the prime, back to the years when Sauvage wasn't a meme, it was a movement. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why it ruled and why it could never last. Let's begin. To understand Sauvage's rise, you have to understand the fragrance landscape it was born into. Picture this. It's 2015. The fragrance market is stale. On one side, you have the leftover aquatics from the 2000s, those clean, soapy, forgettable scents that smell like every hotel lobby and every corporate boardroom safe. Boring, invisible. On the other side, you have the sweet invasion. Gourmands, fragrances drenched in vanilla, caramel, and sugar. Fragrances that smelled delicious, but not dangerous, not masculine. Not the scent of a man who owns the room. Men were stuck. You either smelled like everyone else's dad or everyone else's dessert. There was no edge, no rebellion, no scent that made you feel like you were wearing armor made of leather and lightning. And then, Dior did something no one expected. They dropped a bomb. A metallic, peppery, fresh, synthetic bomb that didn't smell like anything else on the market. They called it Sauvage, and the world would never be the same. Let's talk about what made Sauvage different. One word, Ambroxan. If you don't know what Ambroxan is, it's a synthetic molecule, a laboratory-engineered beast designed to mimic the warm, salty, skin-like quality of natural ambergris. But here's the thing. Dior didn't just use Ambroxan, they weaponized it. Sauvage was an Ambroxan bomb, the kind of projection that didn't whisper, it announced. You didn't wear Sauvage, you deployed it. One spray, and people 10 feet away could smell you. 2 sprays, and you owned the room. 3 sprays? You were a walking presence. This was the era of beast mode fragrances, the era of performance over subtlety, and Sauvage was the king. But here's the first question. Why did that projection matter so much? Because in 2017, in the age of social media, of Instagram, of being seen, projection wasn't just about smelling good. It was about being memorable. It was about walking into a room and being impossible to ignore. Sauvage gave you that power. The opening was a sharp blast of Calabrian bergamot and Sichuan pepper, bright, metallic, almost electric. It cut through the air like a blade. Then came the heart, a smooth, woody lavender that softened the aggression just enough to feel refined, not reckless. And then the dry down, the Ambroxan throne, warm, salty, skin-like, the kind of scent that lingered on your clothes, your skin, your memory long after you left. But the formula alone wasn't enough, because Sauvage didn't just smell different, it felt different. And that's where the second layer of its dominance comes in. Close your eyes for a second. Picture the Sauvage ad. Desert landscape, dust, raw earth, And Johnny Depp, leather jacket, sunglasses, guitar in hand, walking through the wilderness like a man who doesn't answer to anyone. The tagline? Sauvage, the new fragrance. But what they were really selling was freedom, rebellion, the refusal to be tamed. Here's the second question. Why did Johnny Depp matter so much? Because Depp wasn't just a celebrity. He was a symbol. In 2017, he represented the man who lived by his own rules, the artist, the outlaw, the guy who could walk into any room, red carpet or dive bar, and command it. Wearing Sauvage wasn't just about smelling good. It was about becoming that man. The man who didn't need permission. The man who made his own path. Dior understood something fundamental. A fragrance isn't just a scent, it's an identity. And they sold that identity perfectly. The commercials were dark, cinematic. They looked like movie trailers, not perfume ads. And that's exactly why they worked. Combine that marketing with the Ambroxan Beast performance, and you had a recipe for dominance. By 2018, when the EDP dropped, offering even better longevity and a slightly deeper, richer profile, Sauvage wasn't just popular. It was inevitable. YouTube exploded. Compliment King videos flooded the algorithm. Every fragrance channel had to review it. Reddit threads debated it. Instagram stories tagged it. Sauvage became the first true viral fragrance of the internet age. And for a brief, shining moment, it was exclusive. It was the scent of the man who knew. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because success has a price. Let me ask you something. What happens when everyone has the secret? What happens when the scent that made you stand out becomes the scent that makes you blend in? Third question. Can a fragrance be too successful? The answer is yes, and Sauvage is the proof. By 2019, Sauvage was everywhere. High school hallways, gym locker rooms, nightclubs, offices, weddings, funerals. It didn't matter where you went. Someone was wearing Sauvage. The exclusivity died. The cool factor evaporated. The same projection that made it legendary, that massive, room-filling sillage, became its weakness. Because now, when you smelled Sauvage, you didn't think, who is that guy? You thought, oh, Sauvage. Again. The fragrance community started calling it basic, the default male fragrance. The scent of the guy who walked into Sephora and bought whatever the sales associate recommended. It became a punchline. And here's the tragedy. Sauvage didn't change. The formula didn't get worse. The performance didn't drop. The Ambroxan was still there, still projecting, still powerful. But the perception changed. Because in the world of fragrance, in the world of status, rarity is everything. And Sauvage was no longer rare. It had become ubiquitous. The genius of its mass appeal became the architect of its downfall. So now we arrive at the moment of truth. The burning question that started this entire video. Was Dior Sauvage actually that good in its prime? Here's the answer, and I need you to really hear this. Yes, Sauvage was that good, but not for the reasons you think. See, the mistake people make is thinking Sauvage was great because of its formula, the Ambroxan, the projection, the Depp factor. Those things mattered, but they weren't the core. Sauvage was great because it understood something timeless about human psychology. We don't just want to smell good. We want to feel chosen. In 2017, when you wore Sauvage, you felt like you were part of an exclusive club. You felt like you had discovered something that others hadn't. You felt like you knew something. That feeling, that was the magic. The scent itself? exceptional. A perfectly engineered weapon of mass seduction. Fresh but masculine. Powerful but refined. Versatile enough for any occasion. But the feeling it gave you, that was priceless. Here's the final question. If Sauvage is still the same formula, why doesn't it hit the same way anymore? Because fragrance isn't just chemistry. It's context. The same scent that once symbolized exclusivity now symbolizes conformity. The same projection that once commanded attention now signals try hard. The same freshness that once felt revolutionary now feels expected. Sauvage in its prime wasn't just a fragrance. It was a moment, a cultural shift. The right scent at the right time, worn by the right people, amplified by the right hype. And that moment, it's gone. But here's what you need to understand. That doesn't make Sauvage bad. It makes it human. Every king eventually falls. Every revolution eventually becomes the establishment. Every exclusive club eventually opens its doors to the masses. Sauvage's crime wasn't being overrated. Its crime was being too good, too successful, too dominant. It conquered the world so completely that it destroyed the very scent of mystery that made it legendary. So what do we take away from the rise and fall of Dior Sauvage? Lesson 1. Performance matters. Projection matters. If people can't smell you, your fragrance doesn't exist. Lesson 2. Marketing isn't a trick, it's architecture. Dior didn't just sell a scent. They sold an identity, a lifestyle, a rebellion. That's why it worked. Lesson 3. Rarity is the currency of desire. The moment something becomes universal, it loses its power. This is true for fragrances. It's true for fashion. It's true for you. If you want to stand out, you can't wear what everyone else is wearing. You can't do what everyone else is doing. You have to architect your own scent, your own style, your own system. Sauvage in its prime wasn't just a fragrance. It was a reminder that power, presence, and performance can change everything. But only if you use them before everyone else does. The question isn't whether Sauvage was good. The question is, what are you wearing that still feels exclusive? What are you building that the world hasn't discovered yet? Because that is how you stay ahead. If this video made you rethink not just Sauvage, but the entire system of how scent, status, and perception work, hit that like button. If you want more breakdowns like this, where we dissect the architecture of cultural dominance, subscribe and turn on notifications, and drop a comment. What fragrance do you think ruled its era, and why? I'll see you in the next one. Until then, architect your presence with us in The Fragrance Affair.